We had the bombardment just a couple of hours ago. We have lost over 1,400 civilians, including 165 little girls. We are dealing with the Epstein class. They are bombing and killing little Iranian girls and raping little American girls.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I hope everyone is fine with the blessings of Almighty Allah. If you thought Piers Morgan had already been humiliated enough by Iranian academic, think again. Despite being thoroughly dismantled by Professor Marandi in a previous encounter, Piers went ahead and invited yet another professor from Tehran University onto his show and paid the price all over again. The professor in question today is Dr. Fawad Isadi, and what unfolded was a masterclass in calm, devastating truth-telling that left Piers completely exposed. Let's get into the first clip.
Who's joining me now, live from Tehran, is Dr. Fawad Isadi, professor at Tehran University. Dr. Isadi, thank you for joining me on Uncensored. What is it like to be in Tehran at the moment?
We had the bombardment just a couple of hours ago. We have lost over 1,400 civilians, including 165 little girls. We are dealing with the Epstein class. They are bombing and killing little Iranian girls and raping little American girls.
The Americans and the Israelis believe that ultimately this is the beginning of the end of the Iranian regime, which has been obviously in power since 1979. What do you say to them?
You know, Netanyahu asked the Iranians on the first day of war to come to the streets in millions, and they are every night shouting against him and Trump. He has managed to unify Iranians. We have the Israeli around the flag effect. Trump single-handedly has unified Iranians more than any Iranian politician could ever do. It's a pipe dream. It's not going to happen. The Iranians have elected a new leader. The country is resilient. There is this culture of resistance. And you cannot bomb people and expect them to like you. People are not going to be foot soldiers of Trump and Netanyahu. They know these guys. They just finished conducting a genocide in Palestine. Why would you want to work for them?
Dr. Isadi walked onto that stage and immediately reframed entire conversation. While Piers was preparing his usual script of Western talking points, the professor opened with raw, undeniable reality. Over 1,400 Iranian civilians dead, including 165 little girls, and then he drew a comparison that Piers had absolutely no answer for. The same political class responsible for bombing Iranian children in the very same class connected to Epstein's scandal. The exploitation and abuse of American children. Two sets of children, two sets of crimes, one ruling class. What made this moment so powerful was that Dr. Isadi also shut down the fantasy that bombing Iran would somehow trigger a popular uprising against its government. Netanyahu publicly called on Iranians to take the streets, and what actually happened was completely opposite. Iranians rallied together. Trump and Netanyahu, through their own aggression, achieved what no Iranian politician could: total national unity. The professor made it plain: you cannot bomb a people and expect them to thank you for it. The rally around the flag effect was in full force, and the pipe dream of regime change collapsed in real time on Piers' own broadcast.
But if that is your position, then why would you think you could bomb all your neighboring Gulf states and not expect the same reaction from them? I mean, we've seen the Prime Minister of Qatar overnight in an interview for Sky News expressing his outrage at what Iran has done in attacking Qatar. And we've seen Iran attacking Saudi Arabia, the UAE, other Gulf states, Bahrain. Why is Iran doing that? It seems to me that of all the things that you could do, which would be the most self-defeating, attacking your own neighboring Gulf states and alienating all of them in the way that you're doing is the last thing you should be doing.
You know, we have US bases there. After the assassination of Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, the Iranians' response to that assassination was minimal. After the killing of Ismail Haniyeh, the Palestinian leader, minimal. And after the assassination of Hassan Nasrallah in Lebanon, minimal. After the 12-day war, Iranians announced they're going to hit one US base. They announced the timing. They announced the number of missiles that they're going to use. And the base was empty. Minimal. No American soldier was killed in all these attacks on Iran. In the 12-day war, we lost over 1,200 civilians. The people who were exercising restraint are no longer with us. They were all killed by the Americans and Israelis. The new leaders in Iran realized that unless the United States and Israel pay a price, these type of attacks will continue every few months. You cannot run a country when two nuclear regimes attack you every few months. So the decision is to attack US bases, not these countries. The only problem is that the US bases are in these countries. So Iran is attacking US bases. Iran is attacking hotels when they are full of American soldiers. What they have done is that they have evacuated the bases. They have put the soldiers in hotels. That becomes a legitimate military target. CIA offices, headquarters, in office areas in these cities, legitimate military target. CIA is providing the data for these attacks on Iran. And then you have Iranian missiles. Some of the missiles that are shut down, they create debris, and Iran cannot control where the debris falls. I was watching CNN. We had this oil facility in UAE in fire because of the debris. And then we had Tucker Carlson, the American journalist, reporting that in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, they have arrested Mossad agents trying to blow up things so they can blame it on Iran. I think Netanyahu has done a good job using American soldiers to fight his war against Iran. I think he wants to use Saudi soldiers, Qatari soldiers to do the same. I think the leaders of these countries realize that's not a good idea.
Dr. Isadi, on Iran attacking Gulf-based US targets, Pierre attempted to corner Dr. Isadi with the question of why Iran was striking neighboring Gulf states, framing it as reckless self-destruction. Dr. Isadi dismantled this completely. Iran has shown extraordinary resistance for years. Minimal responses after the assassination of Soleimani, after the killing of Ismail Haniyeh, after the elimination of Hassan Nasrallah. In the 12-day war alone, Iran lost over 1,200 civilians, while its strikes were pre-announced with timing, location, and missile counts, ensuring no American soldier were killed. The people who exercised that resistance are now dead, killed by American and Israeli strikes. The professor made the strategy crystal clear. Iran is not targeting Gulf nations, it is targeting US military infrastructure that happens to be located within those nations. When the US relocated soldiers from bases into hotels and CIA offices into civilians areas, those locations become legitimate military targets under international law. And the explosive revelation, Dr. Isadi dropped that Tucker Carlson himself reported Mossad agents being arrested in Qatar and Saudi Arabia for planning false flag operations to blame on Iran, exposes exactly who the real aggressor and manipulator are in this conflict. Piers had no response because there was none.
Let me counter to you, which is that the leader of your country, both the assassinated leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini, and now his son, but also the previous supreme leader as well, have waged a systematic policy as a country of funding and sponsoring terrorism through proxies like the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas against Israel, with a specific aim of killing Israelis and trying to extinguish Israel as an entity, as a country. Why shouldn't Israel seek to properly defend itself in that eventuality?
Last time I was on your show, we went through this. Hezbollah is not a terrorist organization. They were formed after Lebanon was occupied by Israel. Defending your territory, pushing out occupation is allowed under international law, and you can use force to do that. And so these are freedom fighters, and Iran wanted to make sure that Israelis would not do to Iran what they are doing today. Iran created deterrence in these countries like Lebanon, like Yemen, so Israelis would think that the cost of attacking Iran would be too much. And now that these organizations are weakened, you see what happened. They're killing Iranian leaders. This is a war of choice. They're not worried about Iran's nuclear program. I encourage your readers to read the US intelligence community's assessment. It came out a couple of months before the 12-day war. It's available at dni.gov. It says three things about Iran's nuclear program. The first thing, Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. The second thing, this is the assessment of the US intelligence community. It says that Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon program. And the third thing, it says that Iranian leaders have not decided to have a nuclear weapon program. When they asked Trump about this report, he dismissed it he chose to accept Netanyahu's version, and he dismissed his own intelligence community. So if you want to make sure that Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons, you can go back to the 2015 agreement. I don't know if you saw the interview of the Omani foreign minister. He went to Washington about 10 days ago, asking the Trump administration to accept an agreement with Iran. He said that the agreement was available in 24 hours, his words. It's available in YouTube, it's CBS News. He basically begged the Trump administration not to attack Iran. He said that Iran was willing to provide concessions that Iran was not able to do in 2015. And Trump attacked Iran, and it's understandable. If you want to change a country's government, you don't enter a diplomatic agreement with the government that you want to change. But they're not going to be able to change Iran's government. So it's a huge policy mistake. And unfortunately, we are seeing a lot of people get killed. Responsibilities of Trump and Netanyahu.
Professor Azadi, professor at the University of Tehran, I appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much.
Piers tried one final angle, labeling Iran's allies as terrorist proxies and demanding justification. Dr. Isadi shut it down with prescience. Hezbollah was not created out of extremism. It was born directly out of Israeli occupation of Lebanese territory. Resistance against occupation is protected under international law. These are not terrorist organizations. They are direct consequences of Israeli aggression, created specifically because Iran understood that a deterrent was necessary, and events have now proven that assessment completely correct. The nuclear argument was buried just as efficiency. Dr. Isadi pointed Piers directly to the officials US intelligence community assessment available at dni.gov, which states clearly that Iran has no nuclear weapons, no nuclear weapon program, and that Iranian leaders have made no decision to pursue one. Trump was presented with this report and dismissed it in favor of Netanyahu's decade-long cartoon presentation at the UN, the same theoretical performance that have been predicting an imminent Iranian nuclear bomb for 30 consecutive years. A diplomatic solution was on the table. The Omani foreign minister personally traveled to Washington, offering Iran's most generous concessions ever seen. Trump rejected it and attacked anyway. The blood of thousands of civilians sits squarely at the feet of that decision. What we witnessed across this entire interview was a composed, methodical, and thoroughly prepared academic systematically dismantling every single argument Piers put forward, without raising his voice, without losing his composure, and without leaving a single Western talking point standing. Piers could not challenge one argument. Not one. Dr. Isadi roasted not just Piers Morgan but the entire framework of Western media propaganda with calm, sourced, verifiable facts. The truth has a way of doing that. It does not need to shout. It simply needs to be said clearly. And when it is there, is nothing left to hide behind. That is it for today. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. Until the next time, be safe. Thanks for watching today's video, and if you want to receive more videos like this, then it's a request you guys. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon so whenever a new video will be published, you will get its notification first. So see you guys in next video. Till then, Allah Hafiz.